are at the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to Greater Life, Greater Impact. I'm your host, Janet. We do these free classes every single Tuesday. So if you're brand new to our group, feel free to come back week after week because we love having you guys here. We love the participation. We love what you share. Today, let me introduce the topic. I do have my good friend Ann Fernandez here with me. We have a lot of really awesome and amazing conversations, Ann and I, and have discovered that we are eternal sisters. And one time in one of our conversations, she talked about a meditation that she had had, and it made me think about one that I had had. So I want to share a little bit about my experience that I'm going to turn some time over to Ann to share. And then we may also have time for you guys to share some of the ways that you have learned about your divine, eternal identity.
I just want to make a comment really quickly. I noticed Bambi has a picture and she's wearing a crown. Yay.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. If you guys have even a Burger King crown, please go get it, put it on your head. If all you can do is staple something together with paper, go get it, put it on your head. It will make a difference, I promise you. So to start off with our topic today, we are talking all about your divine, eternal identity and how you deserve to know what that is. You deserve to know how amazingly awesome you are. You know, I think about the divine intelligence that flows through our spiritual veins and flows through our DNA and in our blood. Our bodies are so intelligent. They know how to fix themselves. When we cut ourselves with a knife, we're not the ones consciously running around putting coagulants and platelets and oxygen and the stuff there needed to mend the body. Your body's already tuned in to the levels of divine intelligence that can do that intricate process of self-healing and restoring and returning you to wholeness. And so if that's true on a cut finger level, think about what that's true for on the level of how you see yourself, your false identity versus your true identity. So the divine intelligence within you is divinely intelligent. And that means that you, as an eternal being, are divinely intelligent. Your physical body, your spiritual body is governed by laws of God. And your physical and spiritual body knows what those laws are. And so you have responsibility as the operator of this body and your spirit to know what those laws are as well. Part of the problem is that over time we get veiled. We live in a world that's filled with deception. We live in a world that's filled with programming. We live in a world that's filled with conditioning and people who want to control the narrative and control you. And they use manipulative means to dumb you down and to pull you out of alignment with this divine part of you. So you deserve to know what that is and who that is. You are the solution to all of your problems. So I have a little story to share, and then I'm going to turn some time over to Ann to share a little bit about how we came to this topic. My story starts with my son. So my youngest son, when he was about 3, maybe even 4, would run around the house with this pretend cape flapping in the wind and say, "King of Awesome here. I am this King of Awesome. Bow to me." I mean, he was just running around saying these things. I don't even know where he got it from, but I remember catching him doing it one day, and my husband said, "That's really vain. You shouldn't say things like that." and so I pulled him into his room to just kind of help him get perspective. And I said, "It's okay that you see yourself this way. You're just remembering who you are, and don't ever forget who you are. That is not vanity. To see yourself as a divine, infinite, eternal being. That's okay." you can see yourself that way. That led to the very next year, my mother passed away. And a month after she died, she came to me in a vision and stood at the foot of my bed. And she didn't show herself to me, typically how people do after they're deceased. She did not even look like her physical body. The only reason that I knew that it was her was because I could see it in her eyes and I felt her presence. And I knew, I just had this knowing. And she just kind of stood there and went, look, it's me. And it was the most beautiful being. Even to this day, I'm frustrated that I can't come up with words to describe. It was breathtaking to see her in that way. And I asked, did you know? Did you know that you were this? And the answer was no. And I thought to myself, how tragic that a human being can go 80 years plus on this planet and never really know who they really are. She does now, I guarantee you, but she didn't then. And so, I think to myself, how different her life would have been, how much less anxiety and fear and insecurity she would have had she known this. Which leads me to the next aspect. So not long after having that experience, I was in a meditation one day and the Lord brought me a robe and a crown and a scepter and said, here, put this on. And I hesitated and didn't know if I should put that on. I didn't really know what it was. I wasn't really sure what the meaning behind any of this was. And I said, what do I do with this? And he said, I'll teach you about it later. Just put it on. And it wasn't very long after that experience that I then had a very visual experience connecting with myself in meditation, in my own holy time where I connect and go in and do my inner work. And what I saw is actually something it was so profound and so impactful that it changed my life. It changed my life. It pulled me out of insecurity. It pulled me out of self-disapproval really quickly because I was given permission to be divine, to be what I saw. And I'm going to share with you the picture. I actually painted it and drew it, but this is exactly what I saw in my meditation that day. Imagery, and it's all symbolic, but this was the imagery that was given to me in that meditation. And I'm not here to say that any of us on this planet or in the universe are elite. There are no elite royals. It doesn't exist. To God, you are that. You are this. Every single being that is created by the creator of all that is divine and has an eternal identity. So we want to talk about that today. If you have thoughts that come up, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm going to turn some time over to Anne to kind of share her experience with it. And then we're just going to go from there, see what else comes up.
So hi, everyone. And, Janet and I were talking earlier about how, well, I speak for myself and then Janet shared her story. And most of us, when we hear like, wear your crown, be a goddess, be a god, be a queen, be a king, it's like there's somewhere, some part of us that sort of shrinks back. And that just comes from all of us, I imagine, our upbringing, right? So I grew up in church and, I was told that, I am at a certain level and then God is at a certain level and Jesus is at a certain level. And so I've spent most of my life, downplaying my sovereignty, my sacredness, my power, what I'm capable of. And it's only as I've gone through life experiences that I have what I call it the undoing. And I believe that maybe that's what our journey in life is about. It's about undoing. As we go along, we just learn and we grow in awareness and spirituality. And we learn how to undo all of those things we were taught. So I feel that this time in history And you all know about this shift in consciousness. This time in history is the most important time for all of us to wear our crowns, for all of us to claim our sovereignty, our sacredness, and to be just that in our everyday life. And earlier this morning, I did my Facebook Live meditation, which I do every Tuesday. And one of the things that I talked about was sacredness, that if you can function every day from recognizing the sacredness in everything around you, and I mean everything, the good, the bad, or the ugly, however we judge things in our lives, but most importantly, from yourself, recognizing that sacredness within you. Just think how different your everyday life would be. So I want to touch on what sovereign means, being a sovereign being. And it's really about self-governing. Mm-hmm. And if you think about, the way things are right now in our life, that is so important. It's about self-governing, right? Because there's so much around us in our world that wants to participate or take over or, govern us. And really, it's about self-governing. So that's what sovereign means. It's a path of mastery, just mastering your own life. So something else I wanted to touch on, I made note on, is how to demonstrate your trust in God's sovereignty. So how to demonstrate your trust in God's sovereignty? It means trusting in yourself. And I say that because you are God. We are God. And I know for some of us, even when I first said that to myself, I went, what? How could I even think that, right? But that's our ego speaking. It's not our truth. It's not our spiritual self speaking. So just recognizing that you are a part of God and God is a part of you. That is when you recognize your sovereignty and being a sovereign being. So I know we all can handle the fact that we say like, oh, I see God in everything. I see God in nature. I see God in the trees. I see God in others. Well, how about recognizing then that you are God? God is a part of you. So anyway, just kind of let that seep in for a moment.
I love that. And can I take everybody through just a really quick little 2-minute process?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So everybody go ahead and get centered. Just put your awareness inside of your body for a minute. I'm going to take you through a process where you'll be able to experience what Anne just said, which is how can you see God in yourself? And I'm going to take it further and just say, how can you feel the divine presence of God inside of you? So everybody just close your eyes and start to breathe. Slow your breath down, but put your awareness deep inside of your center, going down into the heart. You can also go to the base of the spine if you'd like, but just go into your center, going within. And I want you to hover your senses. We call this hovering your senses. So you're going to take all of the 5 senses and remove them from your physical body and put them out on in a box. Just hovering in front of you, just an imaginary, energetic box hovering in front of you. Put your taste, your sight, your smell, your hearing, your sense of touch, all of the physical senses, put them in a box. And when you're done with that, you have this empty vessel, which is your body, that has no physical senses right now yet. And I want you to just invite your physical body to open itself up as the container for the presence of God. So the creator of all that is now enters into this empty vessel that we call your body. And he is looking, he, she, they, whoever God is to you, this being is looking through your eyes and listening with your ears and touching with your sense of touch and smelling with your sense of smell. All of the senses now are being accessed by this divine presence of God inside of you. What does that feel like? Drop it into the comments box down below. What does this new shift in your conscious awareness feel like to have the presence of God actually enter into your body? Someone says tingly. Nice. Lots of flow happening. That's good. Anybody else? Maybe you're still experiencing it. Anne says joy. Yeah. Expansive. So as they're sharing that, I'm going to turn the time back over to you, Anne, to share a little bit more. Keep going.
Wow. Thank you for that. That was perfect. I think of any message that, and I believe Janet is on the same path, that I would love to get across to you is the power that each of you have, and how important that each and every one of you play a role in this journey of life. We all have a purpose. We all have a path. And something interesting sort of came to me this morning as I was meditating, and that is how, we judge ourselves by comparing ourselves to our outer world and to others in outer world. And when we do that, we remove ourselves, we distance ourselves from the power, from the sovereignty, from the sacredness, from the God of who we are. So instead of looking in your outer world and judging yourself by that, look within and notice, not judge, but notice yourself from that place within. So
we've got a little bit more comments coming in. Someone said they feel purity. Nicole said, I'm sick right now. So the first thought was they know my suffering. So she felt understanding from the creator within. Ashley says divine, and Katie says power. Isn't that interesting how you guys were able to tap right in to these eternal, infinite aspects of your own identity as the creator of all that is, flows and lives and breathes and senses within your being, within your vessel. What a powerful experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I was just thinking, again, going back to what I was saying, how we compare ourselves and we judge ourselves because of that comparison. But when we tap into source, to God, to that sacredness and sovereignty that we are, we just know the power that we have. We know who we are. We recognize who we are. So instead of, I've had people say to me things like, well, my friend does this and this person does that, and they're amazing. And I say, can you smile at someone today? Can you just say to someone, how can I help you? Can you just show some kindness to someone? Anything that you do, and I mean one small thing that you do, the action you take in your life that comes from love, that expands in this whole universe. I guess the point I'm trying to get across is that you matter. We all matter, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your life, you matter. And I think more than anything else, the spiritual guidance I've had, and I know a lot of you have had, the message I've gotten over time is, yes, we're guiding you along on your path, but we want you to arrive at that place where you recognize your power, your importance, and we will support you along the way, but it comes down to you taking responsibility and living from that place of power and sovereignty. And I know you have something to say about that, Janet, because I think it's really hard for all of us, at least even me, when I hear myself saying it, like, take responsibility. There's some struggle there.
Yeah, there is some struggle. And there's also some struggle in, I can't be that. I'm not big enough. I'm not amazing enough. I'm less than, or like you said, comparing. And so we diminish. It's one of the most difficult things. God gave me a gift several years ago, and the gift was to be able to see through the crust of the human flesh and into a person's soul, to see their higher potential, I guess, higher possibility of who they really are. And it's painful to be able to see that when the human being themselves are diminishing themselves right before your eyes. You just want to shake them and say, do you not see who you are? Do you not see how amazing you are?
Right.
So yes, we have a responsibility to tap into that, because you have a responsibility to leave a footprint, to make an impact in the world that you incarnate into. And that can only be rooted in self-love, self-respect, self-awareness. If you don't have those things, self-love, self-respect, and self-awareness, and you don't really truly understand your eternal identity, then it impedes your ability to make the impact that you're supposed to make here.
Yes, absolutely. And the other word that came up was trust, because if you all can say you trust in God, then you have to trust in yourself. Yeah. And I do believe that trusting in yourself is what allows you to live from and recognize your sacredness, your sovereignty, and your power. I scribbled down something this morning, and it says, why do you choose to downgrade yourself and your dreams to match your current reality when you are so much more powerful than that? And so your reality is just a result of your convictions, but your convictions can always change. Yeah. So we downplay, we downgrade ourselves because of our beliefs, right? Or our convictions, like we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. So we have a comment from Charisse, it looks like. Go ahead, Charisse.
This is just really interesting. I read this in a book a couple of days ago, and the book is called The Book of Mysteries by Jonathan Cahn. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but he's a fabulous author. Anyways, he's talking to a teacher at this time, and the teacher kind of just appears whenever the teacher needs to appear. Anyways, he says, do you know the name of God? Asks the teacher. I don't know that. I don't know that I do. It's made up of 4 Hebrew letters, the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. So it's YHVH. He's a Jewish man. Jonathan Cahn is. He's Messianic Jew. And then he says, the sacred name of God, I replied. How could I when I never knew it? When you speak of yourself, you say the name. I don't understand, he says. When you feel happy, you say, I am happy. When you're not, you say, I am sad. And when you tell others who you are, you say, I am followed by your name. YHVH means I am. It's the name of the eternal, the name of God. His name is I am. When we all say his name, then we all say his name. Yes, and you have always said it. It is woven into the fabric of existence that when you speak of yourself, you must say his name. I just thought that was really interesting. It is from the beginning. Yeah. He is a part of us, and we are a part of him.
Yeah, that is the oneness.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That was so powerful and well said. And thank you for talking about the I am, because I was going to go into that for a moment. One thing I have come to realize is that anything you say after those 2 words are the most powerful things that actually take root. So just be aware whenever you say I am of the words you put behind that, because that is powerful and that will take root in your life. Any comments on that, Janet?
I just wholeheartedly agree. I don't have anything to add to that, but I wholeheartedly agree that when you feel good, inside. I mean, who you are is a feeling, really. And that's how you identify when you're tapped into your higher self. When you feel good, that's you.
Right.
When you feel love, that's you. When you feel bliss and joy and gratitude, when you look up in the heavens and see the sky and the clouds and the sunset and the beauty in this world, and that feeling comes over you of gratitude, that's you. So every time you experience the beauty in the world, welcome home.
Absolutely. That was beautifully said. You know, again, I want to go back to the I am and how powerful that is. I was sitting on the beach one day, just looking out at the horizon, no one around. And all of a sudden, those words came to me. I am love. I am light. I am wisdom. And when that just was like a download, and when I started saying it and using it as a mantra, I just felt like my everyday life automatically became that I wasn't just expressing love or receiving love, but I am love. I am light, and I am wisdom. So just wanted to share that little mantra with you guys.
And I would also add, let's put an end to saying I want and I need. Let's start using words like I am and I choose and I decide and I'm in charge and I'm responsible. And so therefore I choose.
There's that word responsible again. That little feeling of like, oops, yes, I'm responsible.
It doesn't mean, responsibility doesn't mean that you're to blame. It doesn't mean that you're to blame for all the crap in your life. It just means you are responsible for how you're going to choose to move through it, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to interpret it. And then once you've processed through it all, where are you going to go now?
Absolutely. So I wanted to share my quick story. Maybe some of you have heard as to how I came about, with the crown and the scepter and all of that. And that's where Janet and I realized our stories were very similar. So many, many years ago, I was in deep meditation. And I think I shared with you guys, I was at the Monroe Institute. And I felt like I'd left my body with such a deep meditation. And it was a beautiful journey. I felt like whole and complete and amazing. And I didn't want it to stop. And all of a sudden, it was like a wall just went up in front of me. And in the meditation, I was just shocked. And I said, I want to keep going. Why can't I keep going? And this inner voice said, put on your crown. And I did that thing we talked about. It was like, what? Me? How can I wear a crown? I don't deserve a crown. That thing that we all do. And so the voice just kept saying, well, if you want to go further, you'll put on your crown. And all of a sudden there was a crown in my hand, but I was holding it down. And so the voice just kept repeating, if you want to go further, put on your crown. And so I hesitated and I finally put it on. And as soon as I put the crown on, this wall just collapsed. And I just kept moving forward on this beautiful journey and experienced something I cannot put into words. It was like complete peace and love and acceptance and just a wonderful place. And so I wanted to share that with you because that is what you can all experience when you accept and you wear your crown in life every day. So
and would you be willing to walk us through a little process where they can just spiritually, I guess, energetically put on their crown so they can feel what that would feel like? It does feel different. I feel different today because I'm standing resolute in the sovereignty of my soul. And I make no apology for who I am and how I show up. And I'm not here to push anybody over or to be pushed over, but I can feel the divinity. It's changing the way that I maneuver through my day.
So just take 1 second and think about this for a moment. Visualize it, feel it. If every single one of us accepted and wore a crown, even just us here today, just to me, that power and that energy is just so amazing if we all chose to do that. So I want to lead you into a little meditation, if you will. And I always like to start out by saying, take a deep breath and say thank you. Be in gratitude for that breath of life. Be in gratitude for the opportunity to be here in this beautiful, amazing planet. And with each breath, allow each breath to take you down further, further and further into yourself, into your being. And each time you breathe out, you can quietly say to yourself, I am releasing old beliefs and convictions and ideas that I have been taught my whole life that just do not serve a purpose anymore. Because there's a part of me now that recognizes my sacredness, that I am powerful, that I am a sovereign being. So with each breath that you breathe in, recognize that sovereignty within you. Wherever you feel it in your body or in your energy field. And each time you breathe out, keep breathing out and letting go of all remnants of old beliefs and patterns and behaviors that made you feel that you were less than. And with this next breath, in this moment, let that breath flow through your whole body, your whole being, and so that you know 100% right here, right now, that you are powerful, that you are a part of God and God is a part of you, that you are a sovereign being. And each and every day you can live your life from that place. So I want you to take a moment, give yourself a suggestion. For each of you, it might be different. Something that will remind you of who you are as a sovereign being. So sometimes I make suggestions like rubbing your fingers together, perhaps taking a deep breath, taking a drink of water. But I want to give you a tool that you can apply every day to remind you, because I know that our everyday life sometimes pulls us away from this place. But if you can give yourself a reminder so that you can drop back into this space of pure love, of pure sacredness, of who you truly are, you can actually function in your everyday life from this place within. So give yourself that suggestion now. And perhaps you can inwardly quietly say, I am love. I am light. I am sacred. I am powerful. I am a very important part of this tapestry of life. I matter. Take a deep, deep breath. And just slowly bringing your awareness back to the surface, but bring with you that tool, whatever it is. You gave yourself that suggestion so that you can always remember this place. I am. You are. We are. And open your eyes when you're ready.
Sorry about that. I had something come to mind as I was in this meditation. Every time I tap into my I am, and I go within, and I connect with my divine, eternal identity, I feel confident, and I do feel powerful. And there is a scripture in LDS culture, in our Holy Writ. It's from the Book of Doctrine and Covenants, 121:45, and it says, let virtue garnish thy thoughts unceasingly. Then shall thy confidence wax strong in the presence of God. And virtue garnishing your thoughts unceasingly is you putting yourself into that positive, beautiful, powerful state of your own I am. That's where confidence comes from.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Janet. I had pulled up this morning after my meditation, the word sovereign, and there's the explanation of, greatest, supreme in power and authority, things like that. And then it goes into the spiritual aspect of that, and sort of from the Bible and what God means in a sense of being a sovereign being. And so it softens it a bit, which helps those of us who, when we hear that, you're God, I'm God, we're God, and God is us, when we struggle with that, the idea of a spiritual sovereign being, that explanation just softens the idea so that we can be more accepting of that, right?
Yeah.
Again, I feel like in this life journey, it's about unlearning, undoing. And there's so much I know for all of us, and I speak for myself, so much unlearning and undoing, that I've had to do to arrive at this place. And as long as we're here, we're still going to be undoing and unlearning and unraveling, right?
Yeah.
And trying to get down to that source of who we are. But perhaps just today, one of the questions I actually wanted to ask, because, I'll say, as I'm doing my own teachings, that I am one with all, and I am all with one. And I have to tell you, in my meditations, that's how I end my meditation. And when I do that and I reach out and say that I am all with one, my hands are tingling. I mean, the energy from my hands are just amazing. And so at that moment, what I do is I then reach out and I send love and light and healing and to all my friends and, just to everyone, to the earth itself. But what my question to you is, when you hear those words, I am one with all, and I am all with one, and I have access to everything. Please share your thoughts. I'm curious what that means to you and what that feels like to you. So either raise your hands and share, or you can share in the chat. I'd love to hear from some of you.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself. You can even unmute your camera. We would love to see your faces. That's half the beauty of doing these classes, is to get to participate and interact with you. So whatever thoughts, whatever ideas, whatever questions, whatever comments come to mind, go ahead. I'll just give you a minute to think.
Because as you know, unity, oneness, that is God, right? So when we say that I am one with everything and everything is one with me, those are very powerful words. So I'm just curious whether I'm saying it now, how that makes you feel. What do you think about? What comes to mind? Or maybe it is something that you already say in your everyday life. And what does that feel like to you? I'm truly curious.
Yeah, I am curious too. So if you're brave enough, bold enough to share, that would be great. What does that bring up in your body? Do you resist that? The I am one with all, and all is one with me, right? Do you resist that? And is there any place inside of you where you're feeling a disconnect from that? Or what does it bring up for you? Does it make you feel gratitude? Lisa has a comment. Go ahead.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I want to feel what you're saying. I feel like there's really something to it. But it's like, how are we one with all when we don't feel others' pain? Maybe we get to the point where we do. Like with all, that's everyone. We don't even know everyone. So to me, it's something that's really important, and I feel there's really something to it. But I can't wrap my mind. Maybe you can help me wrap my mind around it.
Wow. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for that. And Janet, if you have a thought, go ahead. I just have one thing to say about that. So as you were talking to me, my feeling, you talked about we don't know everyone, but in truth, we do. In truth, we do. In truth, in the spiritual realm, in God's eyes, we are connected to everyone and to everything. So it's only in our thinking mind. It's only in our own beliefs and our thinking mind that we might feel that sense of like, well, I don't know everyone and I'm not connected to everyone. And so I think that is the place to start from, to recognizing there is a connection. There is a oneness within all of us. But here's what I truly feel, and I can only share my own experiences. I feel that when we practice stillness, when we practice just being in touch with sacredness, with God, with that place within us, it's from that place that we recognize and understand the connection with everything and everyone. But when we're trying to do it from our thinking mind or monkey mind, there's just so much that gets in the way. So that's what I can share with you, Lisa. Any thoughts on that, Janet?
Yeah, I do have a couple of thoughts that came to mind. You can't wrap your mind around it. Don't try. Because if you go up into your mind, it will disconnect you from the oneness. You have to drop deep within your soul, the eternal aspects of you. And you can't get there from the mind alone. So I'm going to take you guys through a little, just a little 1 minute, 2 minute exercise. You talked about, Lisa, how I don't know everyone. And the thoughts that came into my head that channeled from the divine was, you are everyone. And they are you. And so we are experiencing each other in this mortal 3D plane together.
Yeah.
And so here's how it works. As far as feeling into the beingness of you and not wrapping your mind around it, because you'll never get there from there. So I want you to just slow down your thinking and drop down deep into your body. Close your eyes if you need to. And just sink your awareness down to the base of the spine. This is a connecting point to your higher self. And as you drop your awareness, drop your shoulders on the exhale, and just soften and relax your body. Look for ways to relax your face, your eyes, your tongue, your jaw. Think about non-resistance and just soften. And as you drop your attention and your awareness deeper and deeper into your body, I want you to also, on the exhale, expand. Fill up the room that you're in. Let your presence touch the floor and the walls and the ceiling and the corners. And breathe and let go of all the resistance to it. Let go, drop your shoulders, relax your face and your body and your hips. Breathe in, breathe out, slow it down and go into the stillness. And allow that stillness to spread out and take up more space in front of you and behind you and above you and below you, to the degree that you fill up the room, but you also fill up the universe. Your light now is the container of the universe. Your light fills the container of the universe. So wherever God's light is, your light is. It's integrated. You are God's light. So if I said, where does your light end and God's light begin? It can't. It's like asking, where does the air in the kitchen end and the air in the living room begin? It doesn't. It's just air. It's just there. And so it is with your presence, your essence, your light, your energy. It's not just in your body. It permeates. So I want you to feel that expansiveness. And as you expand out and become the container of the universe, I want you to pretend that you can see an apple sitting in front of you on the desk or on the counter. And you recognize that that apple is in your container. It's in your energy field. And you are in that apple's energy field. So you literally could say, I am that apple. And that apple is me. I am that tree out in my yard. And that tree is me because I am the container of the universe. Because I am fully integrated with God. I am that person over there. And that person over there is me. And don't you see people in a different way when you see them as you? Don't you treat people in a different way when you know that they are you and you are them? That you are literally one in the divine presence of God. That energy that makes up your presence is one with everything that is. There is no separation. That expansion of you goes out in every direction forever and ever and ever. It doesn't stop. That's how light operates. That's why we can see stars from billions of miles away, because the light travels out and out and out and out and out in every direction, above, below, in front, behind. And so do you. That's how huge and expansive you are. That's how impactful your influence is. So if you start seeing other humans as if they are you and you are them, the world becomes a very different place, filled with compassion. Marlene has a comment. Go ahead.
I've discussed this with my guides, and what I feel when you understand that we are all one is you lose that sense of judgment, because you understand that we are all one, and you have an understanding for others more than judging them, because we're all here together. We each have our own path, so we cannot judge another for what they're doing. We might not agree with it, but my guides have taught me we are to send them loving white light, because their path, maybe the path of somebody that we're watching and we don't agree with, that could have been our path in a previous life. So we are all one. And I think that once you recognize that, then people understanding could stop wars if we all stood together.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that, Marlene. That's beautifully said. You know, I just want to make a quick comment. Well, first of all, I want to go back to what Janet was saying, and it's true. You cannot understand that oneness and that being a part of everything from your thinking mind. There's no way. You have to drop down into that deeper place within yourself, your higher self, your soul awareness. That is where you can understand that oneness with everything. But I want to comment. Somebody said, can you please talk about how Christ fits into these ideas? How can we see the face of God when we are God? So I know sometimes people, I've had this conversation with others, and whenever we talk about the fact that we're God, God is us, that there's still that fear that steps in, like, what do you mean? You know, God is here and I'm here. And so, but that comes from, again, what we were taught our whole lives. And the truth is, once you drop down within yourself, you recognize there is no separation. And so being able to see how Christ fits in, I can share what my journey has been. So Jesus Christ and Michael the Archangel and others have always been with me, a part of me, been my guides. So those things don't have to go away. You know, your connections with God, with Christ, with whoever has been your spiritual guides or part of you, doesn't go away when you recognize that you are a sovereign being, that you are a part of God. God is a part of you. That doesn't go away at all. So it's just that you choose. Like, for instance, some mornings I wake up and before I go into a meditation, I just take a breath and I say, okay, I'm going to talk to Jesus today. I'm going to talk to Michael the Archangel today. So the point is, you still continue to have all of that guidance and all of those connections with all of your guides, with everything and everyone. That never goes away. And how can we see the face of God when we are God? Perhaps look into the mirror.
Mhm.
Look into the mirror and look closely, and you will see the face of God.
Oh, that's beautiful. I agree with that. I think of it too as, you know, Anne and I are sitting here talking to each other, and I can see her face and I'm in her presence. And at the same time, I feel oneness with her. I feel her presence in my soul. And I know my presence is in her soul because we're connected. Just like all of us in the creation of all that is within the universe, we're all connected in that way. But right now we're consciously doing it in a conscious way. And therefore I'm witnessing her and she's witnessing me. But she lives in California and I live in Missouri. So I don't have to sit here and long and pine for my dear friend, because I know she's within me and I'm within her. So there's aspects of that. We're talking about connection, not necessarily the dissolving of identities, of eternal spiritual identities.
Right. You know, it just brought up something that I teach quite often about stepping outside our comfort zones. And I feel like this is one of those things that, you know, we've all struggled with at some point, you know, that expansiveness and oneness and everything. And so we all tend to live in our comfort zones, you know, and our beliefs and the routines and rituals we do every day keep us in that comfort zone. But the only way for us to keep growing and expanding our awareness so that we recognize all of these things we're talking about is to step outside our comfort zone, to take a step outside of that. And when we do that, I call it our growth zone. So that's how we grow, by taking that chance, that opportunity, and just stepping outside of our comfort zones. Grace, is that Charisse? Yeah.
It's Charisse. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I love Grace Kelly.
Sorry. I don't know how to change it. Somebody put that name on my phone when I first bought it. So
You bet. I love it.
This is how I was able to wrap my brain around it, because it is kind of it's a deep question that I don't remember who asked it, but I was able to understand that by actually through the scripture. So in the great intercessory prayer, when Jesus is talking, he's praying, and he's talking about how himself and God are one, and he wants all of us to be one as well too. That's kind of paraphrased, but go back and read it, because he's in that prayer, he is talking about oneness, which is exactly what Janet and Anne has just explained and described and taken us through the meditation to get us there. And then another thing that I've learned throughout my practice is that in order, if you want to go up and talk to God, you have to first go down and ground yourself. In order to expand out and be a part of oneness, you have to first go within.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also too, along that same lines, if you want to be a part of oneness, you first have to understand your sovereignty as a spiritual individual being.
Yes.
And they all kind of go together. So I don't know if that makes sense or helps.
And as a sovereign being, There is nothing outside of you that completes you or that makes you whole. You are whole. You are wholeness because you are one with everything.
Exactly.
This 3D world that we're living in, it's dense. There's density here. And it's all about separation. And so if we want to rise and be elevated in our soul's progression, we have to come out of separation and step into oneness. And this is a part of ascension. Anybody else?
Well, I'm looking at something someone just shared. It says, I enjoy reading and listening to people who have had near-death experiences. One thing most of them come back with is the deep feeling of oneness with everyone and everything. And again, that just reinforces what Janet and everyone else has been saying, is that you can't understand it from here. It's very difficult to do that. It has to be from within, from your heart. So who shared that? Thank you. That was perfect.
We have a couple more comments in here just before we close. We're already at the top of the hour, but let me just share these other couple of comments. Katie says, in the spiritual realm, I see the silver corded tapestry of God's beautiful kingdom as it manifests down into the natural, the people we come in contact with, the network, and the awareness of the roles we play in the lives of others and others in our own life. As he shows us our role, I see where he is in me, thus in us all, the unity. Thank you. That's beautifully said. And now you understand it from a feeling perspective, but also from an intellectual perspective. Catherine's iPhone says, that was an eye-opening, I'm thinking you're saying experience. We are one. That makes me feel such love around me. Lisa says, one, then that scripture is much more than one in purpose. Yeah, it's one in, what do you think the sacrament, if those of you who are religious, what do you think the sacrament is about? The consuming of the flesh and the drinking of the blood. It's for oneness, that thou art in me and me in thee.
Yeah.
Somebody else says, I enjoy reading and listening to people. Okay, we did that. Did I miss any? Shauna, when I first started getting on the calls and did a meditation, I noticed as I was expanding out, Jesus stepped aside and gestured for me to go ahead and be. I thought it was interesting that he did that. I see now why. He's always with me, but he is letting me be me.
I love that. Thank you, Shauna. That's beautiful.
We also have comments from, I'm going to let Toby Lynn go, and then Charisse, I don't know if you have another comment or not, but I'm going to let Toby Lynn go, and then Charisse, if you have something after that, go ahead.
One of the things that I have become aware of is that love accepts, judgment divides.
Mm.
And when we love and accept ourselves, we can love and accept others, which then we see, because I know for me, when I've seen different things in my life, like I see that my daughter, for instance, is not talking to me. It's like I get angry and then I start separating. It's like, stop, just a minute.
Yeah.
How have I done that? And once I'm able to see how I've done that, I then can accept her, because what I'm seeing when I judge somebody as a thief or a predator or all those things, what comes to me is, you just judged, which separates. How are you like that? In what area of your life are you a thief? And is that the thief of your own identity? In what area of your life are you a predator? Have you been giving yourself away and not putting up healthy boundaries? When I judge, I separate myself from, and it's about learning too, because I've learned a lot from judging. However, as I've come to accept myself, I accept others. So I find it very interesting that scripture says, judge not, let ye be judged.
Yes. Thank you, Toby Lynn. That was beautiful. You know, it reminds me of something I learned a long time ago, is that we cannot notice something about others or outer world that isn't already within us. So you're right. If you're noticing, something negative about people or about others. It means that there's something in you that you need to take a look at. So thank you for that. Charisse, did you have something you want to share?
I do, actually. I just was thinking back a few years ago, my oldest brother passed away, and I'm an intuitive, and I have a lot of different spiritual gifts. Anyways, one of them is that I can see and feel the presence of spiritual beings. So on the second day after he had passed, we were making funeral arrangements and figuring things out, and I could feel him with me all day long. Now, normally I see people and I can see their outline, or I can see their faces, or they'll come to me in different ways. But this time when he came to me, I could see his outline. He was in a beautiful orange color. I don't know what that meant, but he would be here with me, and then all of a sudden it was like he was an atomic bomb, and he would expand out, and he was gone out into everything. And then he would come back and be with me, and then he would do it again. It was like, but my brother had some handicaps in his life, and he had some struggles. And so I think it was the first time that he could actually do that he had the freedom, that he put off this physical body that held him captive. Basically, he couldn't do a lot of things that other people do. So this was the first time that he could be a part of oneness, that he was a part of everything. And it was kind of funny. It was almost like a kid at Disneyland. He just was so excited. I could feel that emotion that he had, because he could expand out and he was a part of everything. It was just an interesting observation that I had, that anyways.
That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
For that.
And I'm going to turn the remainder of the class time over to you. We're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to just kind of let you wrap us up and send us off with whatever you have.
Well, first of all, Janet, I'm going to go ahead and put my website in. So I just put my website in the chat, because I know Janet is in agreement with this too. We're both always open to questions, comments. If someone just wants to talk, I'm totally open to that. And I know we haven't discussed this at length, Janet, but at some point we would like to gather people together who have gifts. And as I listen to some of you, I know that you have gifts that you should be and need to be sharing with the world. And so if you're okay with me, Janet, sharing this idea, that we spoke a little bit about starting a group where everyone can practice and share together your gifts, whether it's intuition, whether it's past life regressions, whatever it might be. And so Janet and I will talk more about that and send information out to you guys. Because for me, and then I will let you respond, Janet, and we can close. For me, my journey and this phase of life is I want to empower everyone. I want everyone to know and truly understand and live from their sovereignty, from their source, from their power. And every single person has a purpose and a gift. And so that is what my journey is about helping you to recognize that, knowing your purpose, and hopefully wearing your crown every day. And I'll hand it over to you, Janet.
That's beautiful. Those are perfect words. I didn't see your website come through into the chat. Can you just speak it out? Share us just audibly.
Yes, it's risingawareness.com.
Okay.
And
risingawareness.com, and Fernandez on Facebook. You can find her there. You can also find me on Facebook, and my website is, there we go. My website is greaterimpact.com. For those of you who are feeling a calling to learn these tools and get yourself certified, then you can contact me there. All right. I guess my closing remarks would be the same as my opening remarks, which is you deserve to know how awesome you are.
Yeah.
Every human deserves to know how awesome they are, and not have that be diminished by shaming or by someone labeling them as vain. Or there are no elites in the godly realm. We are all one. We are all connected. We are all equally yoked. If that's the desire of our hearts, we just have to be able to be willing to see it and feel it and experience it. And a lot of this that we talked about today is very, what's the word? Abstract. It's very abstract. It's hard to wrap your mind around it, but that's because you learn it through feeling, through the inner knowing of your beingness. It's very difficult to process through a lot of this with your brain. And so you've got to get out of your head. You've got to get into your body, and you've got to learn how to access the beingness that is you. That part of you has an eternal divine identity. So those are my final remarks. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for commenting. Go ahead.
May I just give a reminder to everyone to just think about those powerful two words, I am. And I think, Janet, you also said this earlier too, that each and every day, if you practice just saying, I am, even without adding something else to it, you will drop into that center within you. So I am, powerful words. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you, everybody. So much gratitude to you both and each of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody's sending thank yous and gratitudes. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. We love it when you comment and share and respond and interact. This is a very interactive class, and we just really appreciate you all for being here and contributing the way that you do. Go out into the world and have a blessed rest of your day, and shine, shine. Everybody shine. Don't be afraid to shine. It's okay. It's not vain.
Right.
All right. Take care. Have a blessed day. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.